Good morning, everyone, and a happy Friday. You've got Dan Cook here, not Todd Rich. Todd is still on vacation, but he will be back next week. And we've got Brian Caprice, who's going to run down everything moving the markets this morning, including a couple of comments out of Putin and how those are impacting the markets. Before we begin, real quick, should all be familiar with this. Trading involves risk. It's not appropriate for everyone at every point in their life. So always make sure you're using risk capital. Can't be grocery money, can't be mortgage money. If you're using those, it's the surest way to lose. All right, so make sure it's pure risk capital. We're going to be talking about the markets this morning. These are not buy or sell signals. Do your research. Brian always has a lot of great levels, a lot of great insights into the market. But again, do your research. Make sure that whatever trade you take is yours. This is for education. We're here to help you learn. But again, don't go in blind. Always follow your risk protocols and your plan. So with that, Brian, I'm going to shoot the screen over to you.
Yeah, and I'll try to do that again. Day 2 of the sickness. I thought I'd be feeling better today, guys, but as much as I've slept in 24 hours, it hasn't worked yet. So if I cough again, I apologize ahead of time. If I'm clearing my throat, I'm trying to use the cough drop again in there. But so far this morning, I'd say it's rather tame for Friday, from what we've seen. The data we just saw a little while ago that came out at 8:30 from Canada, actually really promising. They were supposed to drop the unemployment rate down by 0.3. It ended up dropping down by an entire percentage point. So great data out of Canada. Right now, it's not the biggest mover, but it's pretty close. The dollar CAD down 70, and I'll show you that in a second. Here yesterday, we talked about how there was the 35-1 setup, and we talked about pullbacks ahead of time. The dollar CAD was interesting because we actually had a Harry Potter trade based on it yesterday, that collapsing trade. And today it did the same thing. It actually pulled right back up before the news, about 15 minutes beforehand, setting up the same exact trade. And again, we'd already expected good numbers, which means we should be seeing rate rises in Canada soon. So that could definitely be something that is we need to keep on our radar first and foremost. Sorry. I hate being sick. The other bit of news we saw this morning was Putin. Okay, I don't know if anybody saw this earlier, that he claims that the discussions with Ukraine have taken a positive turn. Now, positive for who, I don't know. There's not really any more data than that. It's just, he has mentioned the sanctions, that sanctions have only strengthened Russia in the past. Russia is not new to sanctions. If you think about it, sanctions are used kind of universally. Middle East, we've thrown lots of sanctions down, and none of those countries have evaporated. I'm sure Putin knew from the very beginning that there was going to be sanctions. How far and what they were, don't know. But Putin at the end of the day knows that he has gas and natural gas and regular oil, which are huge cash products that he knows the world can't replace without him. So really, this is great. Belarus has also restored power supply to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. As I said, this is kind of a funny line because people are like, "Oh, the power plant, Chernobyl." I know what happened there. There's not an electronic force field that is surrounding Chernobyl, so it's great that it has power again. But it wasn't like we were protected from Chernobyl with like a force field. So it's not that this has not restored the invisible force field. Chernobyl is not any safer than it was 3 days ago. But again, all necessarily positive news for kind of world peace right at this point. So, with that, in the last 24 hours, we've seen some movement with the dollar. It's kind of going back up again, except obviously versus the CAD. That's great. Euro pound front, basically just flat. A 10 pip difference, not a whole lot. Pound yen 23, that's absolutely nothing worth of movement there. You can see that the dollar yen, obviously some movement. And again, pound dollar, euro dollar, it's the dollar strength coming back in. But yesterday's CPI's number, it's hard to say that there shouldn't be dollar strength. And now, again, with Putin's comments today, with CPI yesterday, now it's kind of, all eyes are going to start looking at the Fed saying, well, wait a second, you're going back to the 0.5 because Ukraine seems like it's starting to kind of finish up, right? And the world hasn't ended. So, and again, inflation's getting out of control. So are we sliding back across? So should be interesting. But overall, I think there's a couple things to look at. Here's the CAD position. I'll start with that. Yesterday, we talked about a break in this level. We were looking for the basing, and we got it with this candle. You can see it based here through it. It touched it at about midnight last night. And then we had this little hiccup right around the 3 o'clock European Open. There's your pullback right beforehand, right? It pulled right up into that zone about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then obviously a huge push down. And the original profit target we had was 127.12. Sorry, 27.12. So we're about to hit it right now. It is getting into areas of buyer, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do have some rollover. I think mentioning what the dollar is doing, You can see we had the fall from earlier in the week, and we kind of found a bottom in it, these gaps that we had earlier. And now we're kind of pulled back in the middle. We have some sellers above, buyers below, kind of stabilizing for Friday, right? If we get any headlines today, that will help move this around and kind of, probably give us some movement. But it is Friday. It is a turbulent week. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I would kind of be surprised if we heard anything from Powell. But you never know if one of the kind of secondary presidents will say something. VIX-wise, obviously as expected, the VIX kind of got chewed up yesterday. There was no new major kind of headlines with anything. Wasn't new tanks, wasn't new missiles. We did get some statements, did get some headlines yesterday about missiles coming from, I guess it's South Korea or North Korea. They were testing a new ICBM missile or whatever, but it kind of got pushed to the side because Ukraine was more important. But that's it. There was really no other reason after CPI yesterday for the VIX to continue to rise. So it kind of pushed back down. It's back in that below 30, which again, it's nice when we say below 30 is great. But again, from where it was, just a day or two ago, being up at 37.50, being at 29 right now is a great, really shows a whole lot less volatility in the markets. And because of it, again, VIX is red. All the indices are green. So a couple things we need to talk about. Yesterday, we mentioned that we were at a 50% retracement level. Actually, let's see. Where are we at? Here. Yesterday, we already started the pushback. You can see we kind of came down and we found the buyers that were sitting right here at the 23.6 level. And again, I could have reversed it. This morning, we actually bounced right off of that, the 23, I'm sorry, the 43.23 level. Again, that same spike at 6 o'clock this morning, and now it's starting to pull back a bit. Is it set up for a short today? I don't know. I mean, it did go up a level. It was a gap. It was tested once. It did hit it again. It was a parabolic move in, and it is retracing back again. But really hearing about positive data or, positive headlines from Putin and the Ukraine, it's kind of one of those things. We don't really know what the Fed's going to do. There's no comments to justify any type of movement. Beyond any big headlines, there's really not much that, should really kind of hold this back today. Do we sell at 43.23? Have to see what time it hits. I mean, if we open and we run up to it, 10:30, that could be a reversal. We do have a little level that's been tested in the past at 43.64. I think that's also a good level that we could potentially take shorts off of. Going long, I think, again, there's a couple different small bases in here, but I think really the best one is probably going to be, probably if we come back down and again, if we have a big collapse at the open, maybe bouncing off 42.15. And again, 10:30 would be kind of where 10:30 or 2 o'clock would be where I'm looking at that. If we kind of have a negative kind of feeling today, end of the day rally, wouldn't be surprised. End of the day, feel good Friday, kind of bounce off 14.15. So, a little bit there. NQ also kind of bounced off a lower level here. You can see we tagged late last night. We talked about how we had another kind of tested level right up here. We didn't quite get to it yet. It was pretty close, but the same spike and the same pullback. If you wanted to look for kind of like minor levels in here, if you draw the fibs on this one on the 30-minute, actually, let me drop it down to 15. You can see that right around the 50 is where this launch took place. So I would say that this is something that I would kind of watch today as far as being, again, if we kind of grind down, that could be a 10:30 level too that I'd be looking to go long off of. And again, we have 30 minutes. It technically could drop that far. But 13,640. And again, very, very easy fib draw, bottom to top. It's an area where we do definitely have demand in there. Again, it based, it kind of rallied up in a 2-candle top, pulled down, and then exploded off the level. The only thing that makes prices explode like this is a lot of buyers. So it's definitely a level we should watch out for. YM has a similar pullback as well. The level we talked about yesterday was 33,512, extended across. You can see that's exactly what we hit. Fib-wise on this one, probably kind of the same thing because we had a trend and we kind of reversed the trend. If we did bottom to top, again, got that same level of basing between the 50 and 60. So it kind of makes sense that we'd have something going on in there. I'd say it's closer to the 61.8 for the fib people. But of the two, I think probably more NQ biased at this point than NYM. But it's there. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hold. I think top and bottom wise, if it's a big pullback, I would say kind of look for the bottom there. And again, top wise, it's already been hit twice. The next hit in this top level will be the third time. And it did push it really, literally to the brink of the top of that level. I don't know that I would take another short off of that one, particularly on a Friday. There may be another little level sitting right above it here. I'm going to leave this one yellow and say, use your discretion. I'd avoid that late in the day. But right now we're kind of, again, pulling back and trying to reset the European session. And Russell, it's kind of the same thing. Russell, whoops, there we go. Russell, let's go to 30. There we go. Russell, if you take bottom to top as well, we got a decent base, and I like this base down here down below. I like the fact that we got a really nice push off of it, so that's one that I'm watching, the 1930. Top-wise, we were talking about getting short at 2060. It kind of turned a little bit early, unfortunately. It didn't make it all the way up, but the same thing. If we draw the bottom to top, the fib on the retracement, it is coming back down again. What I think is interesting about this one, and there'll definitely be some people that get long this one, if we're approaching a level right now where we did actually have a little bit of a stall before that nice little pop, it does just happen to be at the 23.6. So when people are looking to go with the trend using something like fibs, it's a retracement tool. As it retraces back again, they always say buy on the pullback. It's kind of getting to that point where, we're within a half hour. If it can kind of stabilize itself a little bit, that could be a long opportunity for some traders. For me, it's higher in the curve. I'm actually more bearish minded in this one, but I think that's one level to watch out for. And then again, technical traders are going to jump into this level right here. It kind of hit it, bounced, they hit it, based, and then bounced, and then took off of it. It tested itself right on this candle. That's right at the 50% retracement. So again, very, very easy one to snag. The 61.8 will be a stop loss for a lot of people out there. And actually, we could probably move that around just a little bit more, probably there. They kind of put a price tag on that as well. 1985 or 1986 would be another level. So they're all kind of set up the same way. Besides that, oil. Oil yesterday we talked about trying to get short, and again, it did make it all the way up and went short, and it's kind of stabilizing itself. But 2 days ago we're talking about 130. Today we're talking about 106. Obviously, that's good for the overall indices. Natural gas is kind of moving again. It's kind of found its bottom and it's kind of pushing higher. So watch out for that. Gold, we told you guys, make sure you get short. Again, missed it by just a little bit. It kind of gave us some telltale signs to get short. That CPI was just too good. And again, I told you, watch out. When we get tops, whenever there's a push up, sell. And again, we had a push up, sell, and it's continuing to drop lower. At this point, I think today, I wouldn't even be surprised if we make it down into probably even down here, maybe the 1930-ish level. It's about $30 drop. And again, talking about crushing down that inflation, everybody's talking about it. But again, it's down $36 today, down 1.8%. And again, silver should be following. Yeah, silver did the same thing, and it's sitting kind of at a level as well where we'd see some profit taking. But again, remember, they have industrial purposes. They are a money hedge. But at the end of the day, you don't get paid anything. There's no dividend for holding gold. There is a dividend for holding dollars, and really all the currencies. And that's the stage we're getting at, is how much they're going to raise it, what will the rates look like, and where we can go for there. And even bonds are kind of getting beat up pretty well too. And again, kind of bringing that risk back on the table. Cryptos, again, we're going to mention just slightly each day. Bitcoin is down again, just a little bit. Again, it kind of hit that 40, kind of dropped all the way down, hit it, dropped. Ethereum, kind of the same thing. It's up just a little bit, but the same exact pattern. Again, there's your same level of basing. Look what it hit, and it's turning to roll back down again. And then Doji is basically just flat. So we're going to hear more about it. We know the digital dollar's coming. But that's really it today. There's not really any other headlines out there. I would say Goldman Sachs, if you're looking for an interesting article, read this Goldman Sachs one about what would happen if Russia decides that they are going to turn natural gas off and what that could really do to Europe, particularly Germany, right? Germany is really kind of the one on the hook the most. But this is absolutely amazing data for the CAD. The only other thing I think that you could read today that's probably worthwhile is understanding what's going on with Iran's nuclear deal. Remember, Iran does have oil that we can kind of bring back online. Is it enough to replace Russia? No, but they definitely have some oil that could make things a little bit easier. And also, I guess the U.S. has signed, what was it? I think it's $13 billion. I don't see it up here right now, but they've created a Ukraine support package, and it's like a $1.2 trillion line item or something like that. But it's like a $13 billion support package for the Ukraine. So, we're going to pay higher, taxes and gas, and they said prepare for it, and we're going to send $13 billion overseas to help support Ukraine. So that's it for today. Like I said, it's been a crazy, rough week. Don't be surprised if there is a feel good Friday. Look for the open. As I said, I think it's going to be pretty interesting with some of these pullbacks for the open today. A lot of 50% retracement opportunities. And again, I don't think this weekend, the last 2 weeks I've said it's a big Sunday for gaps. don't think this Sunday will be as big, but I do expect that there will be some others. I doubt we can get 3 positive days in a row from Putin. He's going to have to kind of fair balance it and do something crappy tomorrow. So probably some, but not as much as the last 2 weeks. But good trading opportunity, and again, look for knockouts on Sunday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. We're very news driven, Brian. So we'll see what happens. Always caution.
And Dan, there's a question for Maria. Do you have an answer to that?
Yep, I was just going to hop into that. Yeah. So the question is cryptocurrency trade options in the futures. Absolutely. I'm currently working on that now. I don't have a specific time frame, but I'll throw out a general time frame, probably within the next couple months. Here's the goal, and we're doing the structure now, and clearly, obviously, everything needs proper regulatory approval and testing and things like that. But yeah, we'll be seeing them very soon. Great question, Maria. And with that, Brian, I really appreciate it. For the weekend, I hope you feel much better.
I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna go sleep.
Get some rest. Do your best over the weekend. I know you've got some activities with the family, so try to get some rest in there as well. With that, I hope you all have a great weekend, and look forward to reconnecting on Monday.